Hello students, let us start with the comprehension of lesson 1, Love for Animals. Here we have answered the following. The first question is, where were Lucy and Nitin going? To answer all of these questions, you have to make sure that you know the story of the lesson very well. If you need more time to understand and recall the story, you can pause the video or you can refer to the first video of this lesson. I'll just give a link in the description box below. If you recall the story well enough already, let us start answering the questions. So where were Lucy and Nitin going? We know that Lucy and Nitin were coming home from school after the bell rang. Okay, so it was 4:15 and the bell rang, so Lucy and Nitin were returning home from school. The answer is Lucy and Nitin were returning home from school. Whenever you are writing an answer, if you pay attention to details, for example, take a look at this answer. Certain letters are capitalized. So always remember, whenever you are writing names, you need to capitalize the first letter of the names. Okay. Similarly, I have put a full stop in the end. Whenever you are ending a sentence, always end it with a full stop. Okay. So these are the small things that you can pay attention to. The answer to this question is Lucy and Nitin were returning home from school. The next question is, what did they see? Now, if you recall, Lucy and Nitin, they were returning home from school and they saw a man who was talking with his dog. So observe here, they see a man walking with his pet dog. The man is trying to tell his dog something. So this is the part of the lesson you should recall. So what did Lucy and Nitin see? They saw a man who was walking with his pet dog. They saw a man walking with his pet dog. Okay, so this is what they saw. Next, why were the animals attracted towards Maharshi? So this question is about Lucy's story about Sri Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, and the question is, why were the animals attracted towards Maharshi? To answer this question, let us take a look back to Lucy's story. So Lucy says that even the animals were attracted to him. He spoke to them just as he would speak with people. So this is why the animals were attracted to Ramana Maharshi. You can also add that he always fed the animals and birds first. He only ate after feeding them. So these were the reasons why the animals were attracted to Ramana Maharshi. Okay. So let us write that down for our answer. Maharshi spoke to animals similar to how he spoke to people. He also ate only after he fed animals and birds. This is why the animals were attracted to Maharshi. Okay. The next question is, where did Ramana Maharshi keep the animals? So this is an easy question. Just take a minute to think about it. Where did he keep the animals? The answer is his ashram. Okay. Ramana Maharshi kept his animals in his ashram. So if you recall, even Nitin had the same question. He asked Lucy, where did Ramana Maharshi keep his animals? And the answer is, he kept them in his ashram. Okay. Question number 5. What happened one day when he was sitting by the hillside? So this is about the story of Ramana Maharshi and the snake. Let me just take you back so you can recall it. What happened when he was sitting one day was, here we have the answer. One day Maharshi was sitting on a hillside. A snake crawled over his legs. He did not move or show any fear. Okay? So all they want to know is what happened one day. So what happened one day was a snake crawled over his legs. When Maharshi was sitting by the hillside, a snake crawled over his legs, but he did not show any fear. Okay, so this is what happened when he was sitting by the hillside. The sixth question is, how did he feed the peacocks? So how did Ramana Maharshi feed the peacocks? You should remember the story that Ramana Maharshi used to attract the animals by making sounds like the animals. This is how they would come to him, and then he would feed them their food. Let me show you. Ramana Maharshi called the peacocks by making sounds of their cries. They then would go to him and eat the peanuts, rice and mangoes from his hands. Let me just copy this down for the answer. So here we have the answer. Ramana Maharshi called the peacocks by making sounds of their cries. Then they would go to him and eat the peanuts, rice and mangoes from his hands. So this is how he would feed the peacocks. Okay. The next question is, why did Ramana Maharshi not allow anyone to kill the snakes? So to answer this, you have to recall the observation that I mentioned in the previous video, that is peaceful coexistence between human beings and nature. Let me just show you that section. Here we have it. We have come to their home and we have no right to trouble them. They do not trouble us. So there refers to the snakes. So Ramana Maharshi believed that human beings had occupied the houses of snakes and thus we had no rights to trouble them. Therefore, we can answer this question similar to what I just said. Ramana Maharshi, whenever you have any trouble with the spellings, just check if it is already given in the question. If it is in the question, you can just copy it down. Otherwise, you need to learn the spellings. Ramana Maharshi believed that human beings had occupied the homes of snakes in nature. The snakes did not trouble the people. Therefore, he believed that human beings had no right to trouble them. Them being the snakes, trouble the snakes. Okay, so this is a quite long answer. If you need time to think and understand the answer, pause the video. Let us go to the next question. The final question is question number 8 in this section. The question 8 is, who told stories to Lucy? This is a fairly easy question. We have already answered this in the Maths the Following section. Who was the storyteller? The storyteller was Lucy's grandmother. So Lucy's grandmother told her the stories. Okay, so this is the end of the first section. We will now be moving on to C2. Discuss with your friends and answer the following questions in 4 to 6 sentences each. So I get the feeling that most of the students find this section quite difficult, at least more difficult than the previous section. So one way to make this easy is, instead of looking at it as an entire question whose answer is for 4 to 6 sentences, take it sentence by sentence. Just keep in mind what you have to answer and then divide it into sentences so that it's easier for you to learn. The first question is, describe Ramana Maharshi's love for animals. So while answering these questions, just make note of the points that come to your mind first. Let me show you how I would answer these questions. So the first point that we need to mention is Ramana Maharshi, he attracted animals. And how did he attract animals? He spoke to them like people. Okay, and if you recall one other thing, he called dogs as boys and he called his cow Lakshmi. So he gave names to his animals. Okay, and what else can you recall? You should also be recalling that he fed his animals before he ate. And the way in which he fed his animals can also be part of this answer. How he used to attract animals by making sounds of their cries. Okay. Next point is, he never allowed anyone to hurt the animals. So these are the points that you need to mention in this answer. Now that you have the points, it's now time to form sentences, proper sentences out of them. Let us start with the first point. So first we need to make sure we tell about how Sri Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi loved animals and birds. Here I have all the points that are corresponding to this answer. I have just collected them in one place so that you can copy them down for your answer. So the answer is, Sri Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi loved animals and birds. Even animals were attracted to him. He spoke to them just as he would speak with people. He called the dogs boys and he called his cow Lakshmi. He always fed the animals and birds first. He ate only after feeding them. Also, he never allowed anyone in his ashram to hurt the animals like snakes. He believed that human beings had occupied the homes of snakes in nature and they had no right to trouble the snakes. So this point you can either, this is optional, if you want more information in your answer you can include it, or you can conclude your answer here. If you need more time with this answer, just pause the video. Let us go to the next question. So the next question is, what did Ramana Maharshi say about killing of snakes? So what I want you to do is, I want you to pause the video and attempt this question. You need to answer it in 4 to 6 sentences. Try to recall from the textbook and then make pointers. Then you can refer to the textbook to check your answer. Finally, you can check with the answer that I will give you. So here is the answer that I have for you. What did Ramana Maharshi say about killing of snakes? Ramana Maharshi never allowed anyone in his ashram to hurt animals like snakes. He believed that human beings had occupied the homes of snakes in nature. The snakes did not trouble people. Therefore, people had no right to trouble the snakes. So this is the answer for the second question. Now, let us move on to language exercises. L1. Fill in the blanks with a ing form of verbs given in the boxes. Check the spellings of the new words. So this is a grammar exercise for us where we have to fill in the ing form of the word. You will learn more about this in your higher classes, but whenever we are using ing as a verb, it usually implies that we are using a continuous form of a tense. Okay? Continuous form of a tense means if the activity is going on continuously, then it is called as the continuous form. Let us see. So the first one, the boys are. You have a lot of options here. In fact, I think all of them suit. For example, the boys are playing, the boys are swimming, the boys are reading, the boys are dancing, or the boys are running. So let us check which answers suit the next questions so we can come back to question number 1. Second one is, I like dash cricket. So here we can say that the answer is playing. I like playing cricket. Next, the fish is dash in the water. So the fish is the fish reading in the water? No, the fish is swimming in water. Okay, the fish is swimming in the water. So here observe one thing, the word fish can be a plural or a singular. Both the forms of the word fish is fish itself. So the plural of the word fish is fish. So if there is more than one type of fish, then only then you can use the word fishes. Okay? If there is just many of the same type of fish, then you have to say there are many fish in the sea. However, if there is more than one type of fish, if there are different colors of fish in the sea, then you can say there are many fishes in the sea. Also, a group of fish is called as a school of fish. Okay, a group of fish is called as a school of fish. This is a collective noun. A collective noun is a noun you use to call a group of something. So a group of fish is called as a school of fish. Let us get back. Fourth one, Nalini is dash the paper, dash the newspaper. So we should read the newspaper. The answer is reading the newspaper. Reading the newspaper is a very good habit to develop if you're trying to know more about the world around you or if you're trying to improve your language. Finally, the question is, the girls are. So there are two options here. We can say the girls are either the remaining ones are dancing or running. Okay, so we can just say the girls are running so that we can answer the boys are dancing. Make sure you have the full stop at the end of all the sentences. Next, L2, rearrange the words to frame meaningful sentences. So here we have been given sentences. We need to rearrange the words. First one is, sage a Ramana Maharshi was. So when you think about it for a little time, you will get to know that this sentence is, Ramana Maharshi was a sage. This is the correct form of the sentence. Again, let us make sure we have the full stop. So one trick you can use is, if there is no names in the sentence, then usually the first word would be capitalized. But here, because it's a noun, that can also be the reason why it's capitalized. So you have to make sure that you know the correct order. The next one is animals and birds Ramana Maharshi loved. So this is a quite easy one. Ramana Maharshi loved animals and birds. Next, we have two more questions. Here, I want to leave these two as an exercise to you all. So just try to go back and check out the chapter and try to find the sentences that are similar to this one. Okay? And then you can solve these two. So here I have given the solutions. You can just check them once you have solved the questions. Next we have the third learning activity. Sit in pairs and exchange your ideas about the pet animals you have at home. Make sure you use present tense while doing so. So for this activity, what I will do is, I will give you some conversation starters so that you can pick up on them and do this activity. So first, let us see if you have an animal at home. Do you have an animal at home? What animal do you have at home? If you don't have an animal at home, you would have seen somebody that has a pet dog or cat, or somebody that has animal husbandry in their houses and are rearing farm animals like cows, goats, etc. So you can keep one of those animals in your mind and you can talk about them. You can talk about things like what is the shape, size, and how big the animal is, what they eat, and do they play with people, what their uses are, what names that animals have been given, and so on. Okay, so you can talk about all these things to complete this activity. As for the final activity of this lesson, we have speech sounds. Sounds that ring, M, N and ng. Say a long ng. Where is the back part of your tongue? So when you're trying to make the sound ng, you are saying ng. Okay? So the back part of your tongue, observe where it is when you're saying ng. It is touching the palate. Now you can say, practice making the ng sound, ring. Now say these lines aloud. Ding dong, sing a song, drumming, humming, humming, drumming. So all of these have the ng sound in the end. So this is one of the sounds that you need to learn very well if you want to speak English well. Okay students, this is the end of the lesson Love for Animals. I will see you all in the next lesson.